Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied. Now I'm just going to give a brief something that I observed myself in my own life. For example, when I went to school, a lot of the people who I went to school with have got children now. And the ones who are most fruitful are Jake. Like, for example, I knew a Jake in the world. We used to be friends. And I think he must have like 5 or 6 children. And it's like, the Edomites don't get down like that, man. They don't bring forth, like, you know, children in abundance. And even if I look back in my own family, like for example, on my mother's side, she's one of 5 children. She's the first of 5 children. So, you know, it's not uncommon for Jake to have more than 3 children. Whereas for Esau, like, they can have all the money in the world, like they've got cushy jobs, nice cars and all this kind of shit, and they might just have one child, one daughter. That's kind of how these Edomites are, man. They're not very, as I said, not very vibrant people like that. Have you got something? Or?
Yeah, I got one. In what you were saying, it's in Exodus 1 and 20. It says, "Wherefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very strong," on that subject. "And it came to pass, because the midwives feared Yahawah, and he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all the people, saying, Every son that is born shall he cast unto the river, and every daughter he shall save alive." But really, it goes back to what you were saying.
Yeah, that's exactly on the point I'm saying, and that's what they intended to do. And why did they say cast the sons into the river? They didn't say cast all the children, they said cast the sons and keep the daughters alive. That shows that back in the ancient Egyptian empire, they knew all too well that your nationality is determined by the seed line of your forefathers. But now in this generation, where people think themselves to be so smart and so wise that they know so much more than the generations before, a lot of people in our society today don't even understand that basic principle of how your nationality is determined. That it's determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So these people are kind of fucking stupid, man. That's why in the scriptures it says, seek ye the ancient paths and the old ways, because there is a lot to be learnt from our ancient forefathers and their experiences, because as King Solomon said, there is nothing new under the sun. Now, as the brother rightly read, in Exodus, there was a commandment from the Pharaoh that they should slay all the firstborn children of Israel. Now, I'm going to read a bit more on that, actually, because there's a little bit more. Because what was their motivation to do this, right? It says, Exodus 1:7, "And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied and waxed exceedingly mighty. And the land was filled with them. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, who knew not Joseph," meaning that this king had no respect unto the great works that Joseph did in Egypt. So what did Joseph do in Egypt that was great? Basically, he had a dream. Now, he didn't. Did he have the Pharaoh had a dream, and Joseph interpreted the dream, saying there's going to be such and such years of famine and such years of abundance. In order to prepare for the years of famine, we should be creating storehouses for the grain, the corn.
Yeah.
So that in doing so, they were able to avoid the famine, and all the other nations nearby who didn't prepare, they had to go to Egypt in order to get to buy grain. So therefore, that made Egypt very rich and abundant, and Joseph received great commendament for his ability to foresee the danger and get him to prepare. So the Pharaoh rewarded Joseph by making him second under him in all of Egypt. And, you know, the people of that time, they respected Joseph, and that's when Israel and his other sons moved down to dwell in Egypt. It was 70 souls, I believe, that entered into Egypt. Now, over time, Joseph eventually died, and the Pharaoh who was friends with Joseph eventually died, but the Israelites still dwelt in that land. And over time, there rose up a new Pharaoh who had no respect for Joseph or his people, and they sought to enslave us, which they did. So it says, And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass, when there falleth out any war, that they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters, to afflict them with their burdens. And they built Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. Right? So basically they tried to exploit Jake for our what do you call it? Our ability to build things for them. So they put us into very hard and bitter bondage. Right? And it says, that's exactly what it said. And the Egyptians, no, here we go. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew. Right? And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. Now, as I said before, there is nothing new under the sun. In this generation, now that Esau is dwelling in Babylon the Great, which is America, what did they try to do to us Israelites? They brought us there on slave ships and made us to serve hard and bitter bondage in what they call chattel slavery, right? But the thing is, in these Edomites' mind, they thought that they could destroy us, but the more they afflicted us, the more we multiplied. You see, like it's like the more they try and keep us down, the more Jake will come up under that oppression.
Yeah.
It's like they can't take us out. A lot of the other nations couldn't go through what Israel has been through because they don't have the spirit to go through it. But thankfully, for the spirit and grace of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, the Most High brought the sword against us, because the sword of the Lord on the left-hand side is Esau. But the Most High didn't do it to completely destroy us as a nation. He did it to humble us, because we had to be humbled. You know, we had there was a time when Israel was very proud. As a people, as a nation, we were very proud, and we thought we didn't need the Most High. We thought we could do it all by ourselves. But the Most High brought us into a situation which was prophesied in Deuteronomy, the 28th and 68th chapter. I'll just read that quickly. And this is one of the things, like, sometimes when you're trying to explain to the truth to Jake, they're like, but if the Most High loves us, why did he make us go into slavery? Why didn't he make our women be raped and our men be buck broken and our backs be whipped until they were like, all the skin was torn off and all this kind of madness? If the Most High loved us, why did he do that? Well, I'll give you the answer. Right? Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And Yahawah shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. The reason why the Most High did that to us as a nation was to humble us, because we had to. There's a saying in the world: you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And all the times that Yahawah came and delivered us from all of our situations, like, you know, there's a nation that was going to go to war against us. Well, guess what? The Most High delivered them into our hands. Or, you know, we were captives under the Egyptians. The Most High delivered us. We were captives under the Babylonian Empire. The Most High delivered us. We were captives under the Syrian Empire. The Most High delivered us. There was this constant pattern of, okay, we're going to follow the Most High. Because, like, if you read the book of Kings and Chronicles, what you have is you have a righteous king, and Israel will be good for a certain amount of time. Then he'll pass. Then a wicked king would come up, and then we go back to doing the same shit again. Then we get into a calamity. The Most High would deliver us. We'd be grateful. We'd be good again for a few years. Then we'd slip back into the old ways of breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments, and we'd have to go into another calamity. So it was this perpetual cycle. Now, in order for that cycle to be broken, we need Yahawashi to redeem us from this situation. Otherwise, if Yahawashi didn't come back, we'd always be going off, because we're still in these corrupt bodies. It's like, as much as we want to do right in our spirit, the flesh causes us to go off. So in order for that cycle to be broken, the Most High created the situation, which was Yahawashi would come, he would shed his blood on the cross, and be the ultimate sacrifice to redeem the elect of the nation of Israel. And by the elect of Israel being redeemed, that's how Israel's going to be saved ultimately, because the way it works is this, right? The Most High is not dealing with the whole nation of Israel at the moment. That's why a lot of our people is still bugged out and confused and can't come to the truth. But through Yahawashi, he's already come and done his sacrifice, conquered death, right? And Satan. His blood was shed. That blood was used to buy back the souls of the elect. The 144,000 and the 1/3, right? Now, when the Most High brings destruction and judgment, again, through Yahawashi, through the chariots and the ICBM, intercontinental ballistic missiles, most people are going to die, right? So when our nation, the 66% that's in America, 66.6% that's in America, when they all get destroyed, how they're going to come back is through the loins of the elect. And when they come back, they're not going to come back and still be doing the same dirty ass nigger shit that they were doing on this side. They're going to come back in their right minds, and they're going to have their new bodies, and those bodies are going to be perfect, so therefore they're not going to sin. And because they're not going to sin, therefore they're not going to die anymore. So our nation is going to be a nation of immortal beings. But there's going to be levels in it. That's the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven isn't no flipping... the Christians will have you believe that the kingdom of heaven is some fairy tale place in the sky where we're living in the clouds, playing harps, wearing white robes. No. The kingdom of heaven is going to be on earth, and it's going to be the kingdom that's established and ruled by Yahawah, then Yahawashi, then King David, then the 12, then the 144,000. That's going to be the governmental structure of the world to come. And it's beautiful, man, because when you envision this, I mean, this is what we're really fighting for, right? This is what we're fighting for. Like, the scriptures say, let no man take your crown. A crown is a good thing to have. It's a beautiful thing to have, right? But what we really want is power, yeah? Because with the crown comes the power. You know, the power to be able to rule over these nations. And the reason why we want to rule over these nations isn't because it's a vanity thing where we can run around and be like, yeah, I'm the king and yeah, everybody's going to love me. No, it's because we want to see righteousness on this earth. Because we've seen the injustices. We've experienced the injustices. We've been at the bottom end of the totem pole, so to speak. We've caught hell in the society. So deep down in our spirits, because we've gone through all these adversities which were brought upon us by Yahweh himself, right? It made us have an understanding of what wickedness really is and what needs to be done in order to make the earth prosper. You know, because the laws, statutes and commandments were given unto us as a people, and only us as a people. Let me get that. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6. It says, right, Deuteronomy 7 and 6 says, for thou art a holy people unto Yahawah thy power. Yahawah thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all the people that are upon the face of the earth. Yahawah did not set his love upon you, nor choose you, because ye were more in number than any people, for ye were the fewest of all people, but because Yahawah loved you, and because ye would keep the oath which he had sworn unto your fathers, hath Yahawah brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you out of the house of bondmen, from the hand of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Right? Know ye therefore that Yahawah thy power is he the Most High, the faithful power, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. Right? So, the reason why I was reading that is because we were given the laws, statutes and commandments. We're the Israelites, right? 12 tribes. So-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, you know. You got the tribes on this sign here. I'm going to read them out briefly, you know. So-called Negroes in America. West Indians, Haitians, Dominicans, Guatemalans to Panamanians, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, North American so-called Indians, Seminole so-called Indians, to the Argentinians, to the Chileans, to the Columbians, to the Uruguayans, and to the Mexicans. we are collectively known as the Israelites. Now, I always say, you know, you are going to get Israelites that do look like the other nations because we've been scattered amongst these people throughout our various captivities. But, point in case, if your seed line goes back to the man in the Bible named Israel, then you are an Israelite. If your seed line goes back to the man in the Bible named Esau, you're an Edomite. If your seed line goes back to the man in the Bible named Cush, you're a Cushite, so on and so forth. That's how your nationality is determined. It's not something that you can choose. You can't choose, like, I can't stand and say, hey, look, you know what, man, I don't want to be an Israelite anymore. I'm going to go down to the post office, fill in the form, and I'm going to change my citizenship, my nationality, to be a Moabite. You can't do that. But again, that's an example of how fucking stupid the people in this society are. The people in this society are so stupid that they'll believe a colour is a nationality. Like, oh, so what's your nationality? Oh, I'm black. No, black isn't a nationality. Black is a colour. What's your nationality? Oh, I'm a white man. No, white isn't a nationality. White is a colour. Furthermore, we're not black and we're not white. You know, I'm standing here. Most people might look at me and say, oh, that's a so-called black man. I'm not a black man. I just happen to have melanated skin. And my skin isn't even black. So why are you calling me a black man? Well, guess what? That goes back to Deuteronomy again. The curses. Because the curses were, if we didn't keep the laws, statutes, and commandments as Yahawah Bahasham commanded us, that all these curses would come upon us and it would be called proverbs and bywords. So to call someone a black man is indeed a proverb and a byword, because we're not so-called black people. We're Israelites. You know, we have a nationality. But Esau and the other nations have conspired together with one consent in a vain attempt to try and take the name of Israel from remembrance. That's in Psalms, the 83rd chapter. Let me just jump there quickly. Psalms 83 says, Psalms 83 verse 1, keep not thou silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So who are the ones that hates the Most High? And how do they show their hatred? One of the ways they show their hatred towards the Most High is by trying to destroy his people. And that's exactly what's going on in the world right now. They're trying to destroy the Israelites under the pretense that they're trying to cure a global pandemic, right? Even Joe Biden himself, right, out of his own fucking serpent tongue mouth, said, this is a panic of the unvaccinated. This is a pandemic of the I'll not use that word. This is a pandemic of the unjuked. I'm going to say it that way, right? To those who haven't taken the serpent's juice. Well, guess what? The vast majority of the people who haven't taken the serpent's juice are the people who you were trying to target. Our so-called negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans. And that shows the nerve of you fucking devils, man. Right? You think you can run up in our communities trying to act like you're the fucking hero now, when you've been doing nothing but trying to oppress and destroy our communities for the longest. And guess what? Now some of the people, like our people who they're not in the truth, they're in the world, but some of them are thinking, hang on a minute, this is a bit off, man. Why is this man trying to come and offer us something that's so-called free? When is the so-called white man ever giving us anything for free, right? So some of them are using the basic senses to think, well, hang on a minute, this is a bit strange. And they're looking at you sideways. Now you're getting upset because we're looking at you sideways because we've seen your fucking track record. We've seen your history. But yet you're still trying to come in your fucking business suit and tie like you're the great savior, the great white hope, you know, the one who's gonna, you're so smart that you can lead us all to the fucking, your so-called promised land, man. What kind of fucking bullshit is that? And we're seeing through you, right? And it's not working. Now you want to come out and talk about, we've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin. So, is that supposed to scare us? Is that supposed to intimidate us to acquiesce to your bullshit mandates? Well, guess what? Here's some news for you, ass. It's not going to work. Yeah, you might get the 2/3 of our people who ain't in this truth, but you ain't going to get the elect. And that's who you really need to be worried about. Because you know what? In America, 66.6% of the Jakes in America don't matter. they don't matter because the Most High ain't dealing with them. They're going to be destroyed anyway. So all the ones of our people that you've got to take the clot shot, they didn't even matter. They were collateral damage, man, as you like to say. When you go up into fucking people's countries and bomb them back to the Stone Age, talk about you're bringing peace and freedom and fucking democracy, while yet you're blowing people up in their own homes, destroying families, then you want to come around and talk around. You come around and you turn around and say, oh, it was just collateral damage. Okay, so you've just gone and murdered families that had nothing to do with the conflicts that you were supposedly supposed to be fighting, nothing to do with the so-called terrorists that you said were so-called doing all this wickedness. You're blowing up all these innocent, well, nobody's innocent, it's judgment for the Most High, but still, the point is you're destroying these people, then you want to turn around and say it's collateral damage. Look at fucking 9/11, man. I guess that was collateral damage too, right? All them people up in that building jumping out from flipping however many stories high, jumping to their death. Oh, it was collateral damage. That shows the fucking wicked devil we're dealing with, man. He will murder his own people for his own fucking agenda, man. And that's the thing about this whole New World Order, Great Reset situation. Ain't it funny, right? Where this guy is talking about we're going to have a New World Order, a new Great Reset, and what it is it's going to be the elite who are going to be sitting good, living fat, and even if you're a fucking Edomite, guess what? They don't want you in their society. They want to reduce the population down to 500 million. What makes you think they're going to want your ass there? You know what I'm saying? They've basically used you as a fucking foot soldier, as a good little obedient servant to build up their whole infrastructure to where now the house has been built. Esau thinks the house is built. Now he doesn't need the labourers anymore, so he's fucking throwing you people under the bus, man. You got fucking firefighters in LA breaking down and crying, saying, I can't do my job because I don't even know if I'm going to be here in a month's time. And I can't work like that, not knowing what my future's going to be. Because they're all being pressured to take the clot shot, the serpent's juice. So they're out there thinking, well, look, man, we're running into burning buildings trying to save these people, but yet our bosses are trying to kick us off the job. What's that going to do to a person's morale? That's not going to be very good for their self-esteem. And, like, you know, you're working in a place and you know that you're on fucking borrowed time. You could be fired within 7 days. Are you going to be putting your best into that job? No, you're not going to give a shit. Ultimately, you're not going to give a shit. So you're gonna be not giving your best. So lucky you got.
Yeah, I got one for you. Psalms 146 and 3, straight to the point. It says, "Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help."
Read that again, Baba Kasha.
Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. I read 4.
Yeah.
His breath goeth forth, he returneth to his earth. In that very day his thoughts perish. Happy is he that hath the God of Jacob for his help, whose hope is in Yahawah his God.
That's right. That's a beautiful precept, because Esau's trying to threaten the people to try and tell them, look, man, you've got to put your trust in me. You've got to put your trust in my false, bogus, baloney, bullshit science. You've got to listen to me, because I'm telling you, look, I'm Mr. President, I'm Mr. Joe Biden, I'm the one who knows better. The Most High that exists, I know better. I'm telling you, you have to take our experimental fucking bioweapon in your body, the serpent's juice and the clot shot. Otherwise, you can't have a job. You can't provide money or meals or a roof over their head for your family. You've got to come to me for the want of all things. That's the pride of this fucking devil, man. Like, we don't belong to you, man. We belong to the Most High. We already had our, we made our contract, our covenant with the Most High. We belong to Him. That's why, when it comes to this truth, and if you being of the hopeful elect, we've already been bought and redeemed by Yahawah's blood. So therefore, no man can pluck us out of His hand if we be of the elect. So Esau could try all of his flipping witchcraft, his demonic tactics, trying to put all this shit on the news. Actually, I want to bring up a quick testimony briefly, because the brother before me was speaking about the flu shot and how they tried to get you to take it, and the nurse was like trying to push you,
coerce
you into to acquiescing. Like she was basically what she was doing, right? She was trying to demasculate you because she was saying, "Oh, you're a man, aren't you?" Yeah. She was trying to make you feel like you're less of a man because you're scared of a needle. Yeah. And it's good that you didn't, because a lot of men would have been proud and be like, "Oh, well, I've got to show her that I'm a real man."
Yeah, the feminine charm.
Yeah.
They would have gave into the feminine charm, yeah.
That's exactly it. And what did the scriptures say? All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Now, I'm going to bring out 2 testimonies. I said this off camera to brothers, but a week or 2 ago, I was walking through my area. And in my area, they've got some of these pop-up tents where they've got people sitting there with the serpent's juice, and they've got people standing around in blue t-shirts trying to, them, you call them chuggers, charity muggers, chuggers, right? They stand there with the little things and saying, "Oh, can you just give 5 minutes to give some money for charity, whatever?" Well, they've got the same flipping dumbass type people who do them stupid jobs where they're saying, "Oh, could you come over and please, we just a minute, would you mind telling us if you've taken a shot, or why would you be interested, or why haven't you done it?" Now, I'm walking through this area, right? And I'm always very I'm very street smart.
Yeah,
I'm
where?
What's going on? And I'm just going about my business, trying to go to the bus stop. And I'm walking and there's a little tent there. There's a fucking Edomite woman sitting there. And she goes, "Oh, hello. How's your day?" Like, trying to be all friendly. I said, what did I say? I said, I said, "I'm fine, thank you. I'm a lot better without the clot shot." I think I said something like that. And she got offended, but I didn't give a shit. I kept walking. But after I took a few paces, I thought, hang on a minute. That woman was trying to get me to come over to be seduced, right? And to then be like, "Oh, okay, I'll take the clot shot, roll up my sleeve." Then they're going to drip me in the arm, and that's going to be my ass. So when I thought about that, I thought, hang on a minute. That woman just tried to kill me. She just tried to seduce me into taking this fucking serpent's juice. And I got fucking angry, man. I got angry, and this is why it's sad that we can't fucking, we can't be real men in this society, man.
No, because either you would have dead or you've never been the same again because of making a wrong decision or succumbing to that woman's feminine charm. That's why. Anyway, I'm gonna say this and then I'm gonna give it back to you, right? When I saw how